Hello, everybody, and welcome to DC Time. I'm Dean.
I'm Chris.
Thanks so much for joining us. We are glad to be here. We are going to keep moving on from last week's show. I really appreciate the comments. I know Chris, we've said before too. Chris does a great job of getting back to you all. I read them, love it. Really appreciate that. Let Chris do the responding. So many times there's so many different perspectives, but we're in a lot of agreement as far as where we're at, and we talk a lot, obviously, about these things. So when he's answering back so many times, I'm like, yeah, that's awesome stuff there. The topic or the way we've been talking over the last few months or something, it can bring up questions or I don't know, concerns or different perspectives. We get all that. We definitely get that as far as our journey goes. So anyway, we're going to, like I said, just continue this conversation. Got some verses here. We're going to read from Paul like we always attempt to do and try to do. And then Chris said something right before we turned the camera on. We were talking about it, and and I say this, but it's just hard to think of it when we're reading scripture. I feel like there's so much more to these lives, like in Paul's life or whatever. And Chris was making a comment of like, can you just imagine, day to day, his life, him doing all the things as your day. Think of your day.
Things that are not recorded, that are not in the scripture.
So we just have not a whole lot of words, really, just letters from him at different stages in his life to particular people or groups of people. And then sometimes we take that on as if this is, we take this verse here and put it with this verse, and you create
stitch together
all these things. And we know, we're aware of that. We're aware of that in this world we live in. And so all these systems come up. So what Chris and I have been talking about, anytime you sometimes break away from a little bit or change your beliefs or break away from a system, obviously you're going to get pushback. And it happens all the time.
All the time.
No matter what. So we get that. We're doing better with receiving any of that pushback, I feel like, as far as I used to say, I want it. You search it out because you want to know where, I don't mind the pushback. So we don't mind it anymore. We're just getting more to that place of, sometimes you do you.
Yeah.
Do you.
Yeah.
We'll do, this is where God has us on our journey. Right. He's got you in a different place, perhaps.
The bottom line there is we're trusting Father with your life just like we're trusting Him with our life. You know, it always gravitates back to the sovereignty message for me. And I think for Dean as well. It always goes back to who's in charge.
That's another thing we talked about just at the table.
Yeah.
That's so big. So then why? And we see some of these big truths written here in Scripture. And if that is really true, then what are we doing? We're here for a reason. There is a reason. Sometimes it seems like a mess, and we've been taught different things about it, but maybe we're not seeing all the reasons. Maybe we don't have a firm, true sense of why are we really going through this.
Yeah.
I do believe, or have come to believe, that we are here for a reason, and you are too. And it's a journey that, it's your journey. And so you can take hold of that and realize the God that's put us here, He's a happy God. He's not upset with what He's created here. I know we get upset about things, but He's not. He's happy. He's happy with you. And so you are here for a reason. So that's what we're trying to learn more about. And what is that reason? Is that reason then why are we going down these distracting paths of judgment, judging ourselves, judging others, and all these kinds of things? Why are we doing that? Why do we have all these camps? And then you got to get in the right one. Where's all that coming from? There's something missing with that when there's not love there. Yeah. Right? When there's not a spirit of love and putting others before yourself and truly love, there's something wrong with trying to get in the right belief systems, right? The right things, even though we have to talk like that. Chris says all the time, just consider this, right? Look at this. And I like that.
Yeah. It's an invitation.
And so those are wonderful things. I do think there's a different realm to where we can look at it. We just glimpse it every now and then. It becomes more, it's not about then doctrines of belief or these things that I think about and put it in the right box. It becomes something you start, well, it's the other verse, be still and know. You know something about Father, about your Creator. You can be still and kind of get into something bigger that's going to come.
Yeah.
And that has to do with love. It's from Him.
Right.
And that's what we're moving toward. That's what He's building. He's building us into that. We're going to get there. You're going to get there.
Exactly. While you're talking about that, everything we're going through, all of the stuff, instantly I'm thinking of the conversation I had with the study director, CK.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying, he's from India. And
the way he
what's
looked at
the
it.
greatest difference you see when you came here in the United States? And he just said the Western culture does everything they can to avoid chaos.
Mm-hmm.
And in the Hindu, his belief system, they see chaos as part of the story.
Mm-hmm.
That chaos is essential. It's there purposefully, intentionally. And of course, when I was hearing that, where I was, where Father had me then, I can't remember exactly. I might have even thought, well, I don't know. Who invites chaos or who appreciates chaos? Now I'm looking at the sovereignty of Father and that whole message. And I'm looking at Isaiah 45:7. He creates light and darkness and good and evil. And in, Isaiah 54:16, I create the ruiner for harm. Chaos, agony, defeat, disaster.
Yeah, we're in this body of death right now. We're in a state of death, of dying, all those things that we know, the reality that we see it. We just don't see the whole thing. We can't see it all. We get these minds, they're on a certain plane, and sometimes it all gets then distracting.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say upstairs.
We don't see the bigger picture.
No, and what words did we keep circling upstairs? Distractions and limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why, but this morning I sat out on our patio this morning for a while. And in my head, it was just like one metaphor after another about what this is like, this life. I reminded Dean of an adult Sunday school class where a guy gave all of us a little bit of PlayDoh. And within the PlayDoh was these objects, like a nut that goes on a screw or a hairpin or a rubber band or whatever it was. And we were to mold this Play-Doh into something, but you couldn't remove that limitation or that distraction. You had to keep it in there. Now, his message was the bent that is in all those things that maybe they are, we struggle with them, and therefore they keep our eyes on ourselves rather than on God. Well, I'm well aware of that. How come we're so many of us are so quick to forgive someone else or to show patience to another person, and we can't do it for ourselves? Mm-hmm. It's amazing the limitations and distractions we place on ourselves. And we are so quick to tell another person he is Father's achievement. And we ought to remind ourselves we're in that all. We're in that,
Yeah, and that's everybody. And right now there's so many distractions between, humans out there, and again, this leads to war, with each other and the world that we live in. We see that, and we're constantly trying to fix it. We're always going to be, doing those things, those distracting things. So we're just trying to, when you tap into almost like another realm, you see it for, okay, yeah, there's a plan behind this. All this is going to work for the good. I mean, how's that possible, right? How can I logically show an example of that? I've not seen that yet.
Yeah.
You get glimpses of it, and I feel like I can say I know I'm counting on it to happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just some kind of a, well, it says it right here in Scripture, and I just believe it. There's something deeper about, I'm counting on it. It has to be that way, right?
Yeah.
A father, anything we know about a loving people, or how we've been loved, and or the intention that somebody wants to love you with, and like Chris is saying, we give others the benefit of the doubt. You want to build them up, or show them, especially your kids, or whatever. All those examples, how a loving mother or father, how they love their kids. Well, what about the Creator of all? Does He not love His kids and His creation? Yeah, of course He does.
Yeah.
He has to.
Yeah.
Of course He's a happy God. Why wouldn't He be? Right? Why is it? So when you start thinking in those kinds of ways, you can get a little bit of a peace.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
I think
it's
of
devastating what we're going through sometimes, but it's okay.
The author, the playwright, the director, he can be happy during the worst scenes because he knows
Oh yeah,
the
that's good.
conclusion,
That's,
he can,
that's good.
that's
really
he
good to
tells
hear.
the end from the beginning,
Right.
He's the happy God because he knows what's coming. He knows the consummation will be the culmination of all of this chaos and